I think it should prompt now just to let you know that I hit the recording thing. And I think it should say, are you okay with that? Here it comes.
Yeah, I actually just recording has started.
Uh,
Yep.
ask Anyway.
Mhm.
So the quick questions, I'm just pulling them up so I don't fumble. The first one is your name.
I am Jessica Gorno.
You want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, including what do you do at AIFC?
Sure. I am an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa out of North Dakota. I've been here in the Twin Cities now since 1998, and currently I am the clinical director here at the American Indian Family Center. I also was the first therapist located at this location, and I was in that role until 2012. So I've been a clinical director now for about 10 years, but I have a wealth of experience in the treatment of complex trauma with children as well as adults in Indian country.
Mm, bless you.
Mhm.
And I'll cut that part out. But so why do you work at AIFC?
Well, since I was young, I grew up on my reservation. Since I was young, one of the things I would notice in particular when I would go with my grandma to Indian Health Service, I noticed that there were a lot of elders there, and there were a lot of doctors who were not necessarily very nice to them. I heard doctors screaming at elders, calling them malingerers, and what they didn't understand is that the elders were coming there to visit because there was no other way to connect on the reservation. And I realized that the doctors who came were fulfilling obligations for loans or other things, and I was really, really disturbed by the way in which our Indian people were treated. And so I was thinking about what can I do to be a part of that, to help alleviate some of that. My father, who is a social worker, sat down and one day and just made a random statement. He said, "Do you know that there's only 3 child psychologists in the whole state of North Dakota?" And he just kind of walked away, and I kind of let that percolate. And I decided that I think the best way for me to go about helping our people is to go into mental health. And I was young then, and I really am very, very passionate about providing healing services to Indians, and that is why I'm at the American Indian Family Center, because we truly believe of the integration of traditional practices and knowledge within a mental health field, which is a very big luxury to have as a mental health provider. If you are at any other location, you're doing straight Western model therapy, but here you're able to take your actual practice of your worldview and integrate it in a really beautiful and creative way to see our people heal on a deeper level.
They're like um so now just to help us with the elder services campaign we have, you already kind of went into a little bit of that with your other answers, but why do you think elder services are needed at the American Indian Family Center?
Okay, sorry about that,
No,
Gwendolyn.
it's great.
I made a little noise. I hopefully you're able to take that out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Why it is so important, again, this kind of goes back to growing up. Elders were held in high revere. We were always raised with the idea that our elders were to guide us because they gained the wisdom and knowledge necessary to have lived that long. And so we always went to them for advice. And the reason it is super important here at the American Indian Family Center in particular, and everywhere, is to follow our worldview of having our elders leading us through the trauma, leading us through the healing, but also helping to identify gaps in services. And to do that, we need to be able to provide the support traditionally we used to do. Traditionally, we used to take care of our elders. In contemporary society now, especially with being in an urban area, doing that traditionally is much more challenging. Then you put on the fact that many of our elders are also raising their grandchildren due to their children's maybe chemical dependency struggles or mental health struggles. And so they are in need of a lot of help, and there isn't a lot of help out there for them. They're in need of safety, they're in need of services, and they're in need of being able to contribute. I mean, we used to have an elders program here back in the day in 1998 that I loved. We actually had a program through, I can't even remember the name of the organization because it's no longer in existence, that offered stipends to elders, and they came here to the family center and they would sit and visit with people. They would help watch babies, and everybody really loved that. And for me, it really helped because I was always around my grandmother. And so to have a grandmother figure to provide that, I think would really provide an additional amount of healing for our Indian people, because I have noticed even if a Native person is struggling and or dealing with issues related to their identity, they all seem to have a lot of respect when they come into view of an elder. And so I think that could be a very important piece to have.
That's so great. Thank you. Okay. Next, what do you think? So you kind of touched on and say what are the biggest problems that elders face, but that was unless you have anything else to add, I think you kind of touched on that.
I
But
think
if
it
you
would, yeah, it might be a little bit more. Like I said, I did say safety because they're in unsafe situations. They're vulnerable to being taken advantage of by financially as well as physically by some family members, but also by the community at large that opens them up to IT scams for things that they don't know how to handle. But in addition to the safety issues, I would say that the biggest piece too is food sustainability, secure and stable and safe housing, and actual support for those grandparents who are raising their grandchildren.
and what should we do next for our very next step to help elders in our community?
I think we need to be we need to be bringing all of the community together to talk about this issue and to get community involved rather than keeping all of it within a couple of organizations, right? I think that by building community engagement, we have many people working on how do we provide support to our Indian people. And the more minds on this, the better it will be. The other part of this is organizations actively need to be looking for resources to be able to put towards addressing those big target areas to hopefully help alleviate some of those issues, such as safety and such as programming that provides additional support for grandparents who are raising their children. So I think that's a huge piece that needs to be talked about first, and how we can do that well. I don't think it should be dependent upon any one organization or actual state funding. It needs to be a community engaged project.
Last question is what would you like to say to our donors to encourage them to give to the American Indian Family Center?
Okay, honestly, I wish they could all come here and look at all of the good work that is happening for our families in our Native community here. I truly feel like do not have one colleague who is not passionate about the work that they're doing and about their ability to go above and beyond that I've seen in any other organization. You are not going to find the interweaving of traditional practices and knowledge and resiliency into Western models that at any other organization than you will find at the American Indian Family Center. And we truly, truly believe that by going back to that, we're going to be able to heal individuals, and individuals give rise to mentoring, which makes more individuals heal, and then communities heal. And from that, outwards goes community healing to healing outside the Native community. I mean, there is a grandfather teaching that the seventh generation will be the generation to help heal the Indian community, but that they will also heal the whole world in some respects. And so I really would encourage donors to understand that we bring so much to the table and that we can do this work well.
Amen. All right. Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate what you did. Thank you for taking the time. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna give the video to Rayette, and then I'll the part of it that's just I'm gonna take just the audio part and put it into the radio show. Um, so during the breaks, I'm trying to get the Cheryl's playlist. She says she has a playlist, so I'm trying to use her playlist, and then in between in the breaks, I'll put something about each service. So each service area. So I'm trying to get one person from each to give me what you just gave me so I can break
Okay.
it down, break it down, break it down.
You might want to connect with Dawn too, because I saw when you mentioned that at the staff meeting on Monday, Dawn was running around, had downloaded, I believe, Cheryl's soundtrack that you're talking about. And so you might be able to get a quicker response from Dawn right now. And I can give Dawn a heads up because I am here. I think she's done with group now. So
Better,
if you,
like I said, it's I'm okay with my audio tools, but I'm not a super pro. It takes me a little minute to get everything sliced and to slice it and then slide it and move it in, upload it and slide.
okay, good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so you're gonna let her know and then I should reach out. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yes, I'll let her
Okay,
know and
okay.
then you can reach out.
Okie dokie. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you, McQuinlan, and have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.